Ukraine's military intelligence agency conducted a joint operation with local partisans to blow up a bus carrying 5 Chechen soldiers from the Russian-backed Akhmat unit in occupied Melitopol, HUR reported. The southern city of Melitopol in Ukraine's Zaporizhia Oblast has been under Russian occupation since March 2022. As a result of a successful joint operation between intelligence officers and partisans, a minibus carrying 5 Akhmat soldiers exploded on the outskirts of Melitopol, HUR said. All 5 soldiers aboard were killed in the blast. The explosion also wounded 2 Russian soldiers in a nearby vehicle and destroyed an electronic warfare system, the agency said. Video footage uploaded to the agency's Telegram channel shows the moment of the blast. Earlier this month, HUR said it conducted a joint operation with local partisans to destroy a Russian command post in occupied Melitopol on July 10th. The operation reportedly killed 5 Russian soldiers. In May, HUR reported that 4 Akhmat officers were killed in a car bombing near the occupied city of Skadovsk in Kherson Oblast. HUR did not claim direct responsibility for the bombing, but said that there will be just retribution for every war crime committed against the Ukrainian people. Ukrainian partisan groups, alongside Ukrainian intelligence officers, routinely execute covert missions within Russian-occupied territories to degrade the operational capacity of Russian forces. The SBU confirmed its drone struck 2 key Russian military targets overnight. The first hit was on the Primorsko-Akhtarsk airfield in Krasnodar region, damaging storage and launch sites for Shahed drones used against Ukraine. Fires broke out after the strike. The second target was the Elektro-Pribor plant in Penza, a defense industry facility producing equipment for military networks and hardware. Ukrainian forces carried out AASM hammer bomb strikes on Russian positions at the Novy Yurkovichy border checkpoint in Bryansk region. A Ukrainian MiG-29 hit Russian positions in Malinivka again, destroying a building with assault troops and an ammo storage facility using a GBU-62 bomb. Ukrainian aviation has ramped up its activity in recent days, launching near-constant strikes across multiple fronts, from precision bombings in the east to long-range drone and missile attacks deep inside Russian territory. The tempo is relentless. Su-27s and MiG-29s are flying sorties almost daily, supporting ground forces with guided bombs and anti-radar missiles. Meanwhile, strike drones are hitting oil depots, airfields, and logistics hubs across Russia, including targets in Belgorod, Bryansk, and even further east. This wave of non-stop pressure is clearly aimed at exhausting Russian defenses, disrupting supply lines, and forcing Moscow to spread its resources thin. Ukrainian air power is proving it's not only surviving, it's hitting harder than ever. Operators from Ukraine's 1st Separate Territorial Defense Brigade used an FPV drone to destroy a bridge over the Sada River in the Bryansk region. The drone bomber Telegram channel published the footage of the strike. Russian forces had mined the bridge, a fact discovered by Ukrainian troops. They took advantage of the situation to destroy the structure. Russian troops intended to use the bridge during a potential evacuation. Its destruction has rendered it impassable. The drone footage captures around a dozen TM-62 anti-tank mines placed both on the bridge and on the support structure beneath it. As Militarny previously reported, drones struck a fuel train at a railway junction in the city of Salsk, Rostov region on the night of July 29th. The target is believed to have been a military train operated by Russian invasion forces and headed toward the Ukrainian border. The embattled town of Pokrovsk in Donetsk Oblast remains one of the most difficult areas of the front line, with Russian forces employing total infiltration tactics in attempts to breach Ukraine's defenses, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces Oleksandr Syrsky reported. Pokrovsk has for months been one of the most heavily contested battlegrounds of Russia's offensive in eastern Ukraine. Syrsky, who visited command posts near Pokrovsk, said Pokrovsk remains the most difficult situation in Donetsk Oblast, along with the towns of Dobropilya and Novopavlivka. The enemy is stepping up its efforts to capture our key agglomerations, looking for vulnerabilities in our defense, and conducting active combat operations in several directions simultaneously, Syrskyi reported. At the same time, the Russians are resorting to a tactic of total infiltration, with an increase in sabotage activities in our rear. According to Syrskyi, Russian troops are attempting to enter Pokrovsk via these infiltration tactics, but have not yet succeeded. Ukrainian forces are repelling Russian sabotage and small infantry groups, he said. Ukraine's military is responding to Russia's tactics by creating and deploying anti-sabotage reserves, Syrskyi said. Local commanders are also working to establish and strengthen fortifications, explosive and non-explosive barriers, and anti-drone tunnels. Syrskyi's report comes days after the Ukrainian military said on July 27th that Russian troops had advanced between Pokrovsk and Kostiantynivka as their summer offensive in Donetsk Oblast grinds on. Previously, the battlefield monitoring group Deep State reported on July 22nd that Russian troops had entered Pokrovsk, prompting Ukrainian units to scramble to prevent the situation from spiraling into disaster. Russia has concentrated the bulk of its offensive forces near Pokrovsk. Assaults in the sector have spiked in recent weeks as Moscow attempts to expand the front line by breaking through to neighboring Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. Syrskyi reported in June that Russia had amassed 111,000 troops near Pokrovsk. Ukrainian Omega Special Forces used mortars to destroy Russian positions. The unit published footage of the strikes. Ukrainian Special Forces have intensified their raids deep behind enemy lines, targeting key Russian positions with speed, precision, and psychological impact. Operating mostly at night, these elite units strike command posts, sabotage supply routes, destroy communications equipment, and eliminate high-value targets before vanishing back into the shadows. Recent operations in occupied southern Ukraine and parts of the Donbas have reportedly left Russian units rattled and forced to divert manpower to rear area defense. These raids aren't just tactical. They're strategic, disrupting logistics, spreading fear, and proving that nowhere is truly safe for the occupiers. Ukraine's special forces are leveraging local intelligence, modern equipment, and bold tactics to keep Russian forces off balance, turning their own rear into a battlefield. Ukraine and Russia have reached agreements on the exchange of 1,200 prisoners of war, President Volodymyr Zelensky announced. According to him, work is currently underway to coordinate the lists. He made the statement during a meeting focused on implementing agreements reached during contacts with the Russian side in Istanbul and on preparing for the next round of talks. The Secretary of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council reported on communication with the Russian representative. Zelensky added that the Ukrainian government is also working to unblock the return of civilian detainees, with individual cases being reviewed. The date and format of the planned exchange have not been disclosed. The previous, 9th exchange of prisoners of war took place on July 23rd. Among those released were servicemen of the armed forces of Ukraine, including members of the Air Assault Forces, the Navy, the Territorial Defense Forces, as well as fighters from the State Border Guard Service, the National Guard, and the National Police. A border guard, who was the last defender of Zemini, Snake Island, was also among those freed.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.